Thank you guys for taking your time to come and join the show tonight. We apologize for starting late. It was quite difficult, and also, to get our guest here, Honorable Sakudi, is due to technical issues. But I apologize on his behalf on that one. On the portal, I see that I have Lebuchang on the portal. I also have Honorable Sakudi on the portal, and I also have Rama Tlapulas. I think it's Rama Tlapu around there. And yeah, thank you guys for joining. I'll start with Lebuchang. Lebuchang, please introduce yourself. Okay, I think Lebuchang is still on mute. Lebuchang, please introduce
Hi, Ali.
yourself to the house.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Labuham from Pretoria. I'm calling from Pretoria.
All right, now thank you so much, Honorable Lebuchang. And Honorable Sakudi, please introduce yourself to the house.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sylvester Hlakudi.
All right, no, thank you so much. And we also have another caller here by the name of Ramaklopo. Can you please introduce yourself? Okay, the caller, it's not audible, but it's fine. Today podcast actually, we'll be looking on the tax matters. So we have actually invited Honorable Sakudi so to answer some few questions because we know for sure that a lot of people are finding it, difficult to understand some of the few terminologies and how does tax system work, and also how people should actually take their companies into account. They how they have to take their companies into account, because we know for sure that if you want to start a company, there are a lot of things that one needs to take into account. Honorable Sakudi, we thank you so much for taking your time to come to the show. It's an honor for us to have you on Gogis FM. I'll allow you to introduce yourself formally so that our listeners from different platforms, because this platform actually is an international platform where people can listen from the whole world. So I'd like you to introduce yourself so people can know who you are, where are you from, and what are you doing. I'll allow you to start.
Yes, thanks for inviting us. I am the CEO of a company called Syro Accountants. We are a registered chartered accountants with partners in the company who are also chartered accountants. So we specialize in accounting, in audit, and in tax. So we are in Pretoria and also in Bakersford and in Polokwane as well. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable Sakudi, for introducing yourself. Honorable Sakudi, I'll start with this one. This one is the main challenge that a lot of company directors and also individuals they're experiencing. You find that they are receiving SMSs or they're receiving letters from SARS, and they're getting different types of letters. So we want you at least to try to explain these different types of letters based on the level of your understanding, so people actually they can understand that when they receive this type of letter, what does it mean? Because people are confused. One receive a letter, and at the end of the day, and they start to get confused that, okay, now I'm starting to owe SARS. What is happening? So there is a letter that we know. The letter is called assessment letter. What is this letter, and what does this letter actually entail?
Normally, when when you engage with SARS, when you're dealing with SARS, you're just dealing with any other organ of state. So they will be civil in their engagements. They will be communicating upfront everything that you have to do. So you will see that in the letter there are directives of what has to happen. So in the assessment letter, basically SARS would be informing the taxpayer that this is what SARS has come to determine as the tax payable or refundable for that particular period by the taxpayer. So basically, it's just a communication of saying we have done our reviews and our assessments, and we find that you are probably liable for this much, or you have a refund of this much. So it's just a letter that is communicating the outcome of tax review. Thanks, Mr. Malika.
Oh, actually, all right. No, thank you so much for that. All right. So you're saying that actually the assessment letter, it's actually just actually telling the individual or the company about the outcomes of the assessment which actually took place. Correct?
Yes. And basically, when SARS is saying that, the taxpayer, has all the options. You can accept the assessment, can reject the assessment, or can provide more information. So it is still a process where you can still engage SARS at that stage when they give you that kind of a letter.
Okay. All right. That's quite interesting. Now, there's a letter that is called Operations First Letter Number 1. I have engaged with a friend of mine. He also said that he once received this letter and he was quite confused that what is this letter actually? It's called the Operations First Letter Number 1. What is this letter actually?
Once again, I think in the letter you definitely get a directive as to what course of action or what instruction you'll have to comply with or to carry out. So in that letter, probably in the operation letter, it will just be saying we are in the process of resolving or this particular query. So please respond. So at that stage, it's mainly administrative, things that you'll have to respond to. Give us this information. For instance, we have received this assessment, or we have this information at our disposal. Can you kindly provide us with this information as we're trying to finalize your assessment? So it will be that kind of a letter.
So, but now tell me this. Yeah. Now tell me this. Why are they actually issuing the Operations First letter, and eventually they issue out the Operation Second letter, which is the revision that actually it says that revision failed letter? How does these two letters differ actually? Because the other one, it's Operation First letter. The other one is Operations First letter number 2, which is, it says that revision failed letter. How do these two letters differ?
The SARS has standardized their operations in a manner that says we have to be able to offer the taxpayer a certain amount of time, when we are dealing with their affairs. So the first letter indicates that we are at the preliminary stages. You still have more chance to respond. You can ignore that letter. We will give you another opportunity, to look. Or we are now in a progress. We have received your first letter, but this is now our response. So basically it's communications. So this communication has been given titles so that because the operations have been standardized so that the taxpayer can understand at what stage they are at when dealing with SARS. So they are standardized letters just so that when you are dealing with the second letter, that now towards the finalization. It means I've responded. In this case, SARS is not satisfied with what I've offered to them. Therefore, that revision has failed. So you are now in a stage where you are towards the end of engaging with SARS. And if you don't satisfy SARS, you're probably gonna end with the assessment that they've given to you.
No, thank you so much for that.
Sure.
Because, when it comes to the issue of text method, it's quite complicated, and people receive messages from us. People start to get, bored. Some of them start to say that, what wrong have I done? Because I'm no longer working, but I'm getting messages. And there is this letter that is called the enforcement first letter. What are they enforcing? Because they're saying that the letter is enforcement letter.
So, in the enforcement letters, it will be, now SARS is acting because probably they are not getting joy. They are not getting joy in dealing with the taxpayer. So they're beginning now to take steps trying to recover whatever amount monies that are due or information which is outstanding. So they would issue these letters to tell you that now we are trying to enforce particular clauses of the Tax Administration Act. So so again, that letter is titled because it refers to a particular clause in the Tax Administration Act. So it is standardized letters, so that both the taxpayer and SARS, they can have the same understanding of what is going on. So, and again, the letter in itself will have the enough contents to let the taxpayer know what is expected of them at that stage.
All right, now thank you so much for explaining that letter. So does it mean that when one actually get the enforcement letter coming from SARS, the person is in danger?
Definitely, when it goes to that, it probably means one has been probably ignoring other letters. It means that the letter is not just the first letter. There have been other letters, probably they have not been responded to, or instructions have not been carried out. So now SARS is now beginning to engage third parties trying to recover or to get information which is the taxpayer supposed to provide. So yeah, that will be the case in that in that kind of a letter. Yes.
Yeah, no, I definitely get it. That meaning people need to to make sure that they respond to whatsoever that they send them the letters. I want to ask you this question. Honorable Tlhagudi. We spoke about the enforcement letter that is coming from SARS. All right, thank you so much, Kabelo, for joining us. We spoke about the enforcement letter. That when one actually get the enforcement letter, they must, start to open their eyes to know that they're in danger. Now, I want to know about the third-party letter. What is happening here? The third-party letter. Can you explain what is happening when now we come to the stage of the third-party letter?
Third party, probably it will be in this case because third parties, it will remain. It relates to people who have got information about the taxpayer. It could be your pension fund people. It could be your banks. It could be your insurances. So basically, in that letter, it's a letter where SARS is saying, we have this information from this person whom you are dealing with. So it's a matter of you verifying or you providing SARS with that kind of a letter. So they may say, please provide us with a third-party letter or information. In that case, it means you have to provide SARS with your, statements from your bank. If it's bank, it will be like IT3, which says the bank will be saying this is how much we collected or we gave you as interest for the whole year. Or if it's medical aid, the medical aid people will be saying this this is how much you've paid in cash to us over this 12 months period. Yeah, so it would be something like that.
Yeah, no, I get it. Also, when you're talking about the third party letter, actually, it's like the information which SARS can require from you, which might be coming from your bank, might be coming from your retirement fund, could be coming maybe from the employer,
Yes.
could be coming from the investments which you have been making. They might require information from an individual.
Yes,
what
yes,
actually
yes.
might be,
So, yeah, definitely.
what are some of the factors that might be contributing to SARS to request such information from the entrepreneur, from the individual?
Like from the individual, like when you have medical aid, there are certain benefits that you have. You have got dependents, for instance. There are certain benefits that comes to you, in relation to the tax deductions. So that letter is just a verification that indeed, as you were dealing with your medical aid fund, this is what happened during the year, and therefore SARS can have comfort that whatever you declared, whatever they have at their disposal, it's correct information. So generally, yeah, it's to assure SARS that the information that they have is probably correct, or if you are asking for further tax deductions, or let me say what, if you are looking for further to lower your tax payable amount, you may be able to provide such information which may prove that you have incurred extra costs, and therefore your tax must go down. So such information is important from an individual. So,
while you're busy digesting answering the question that I was asking you, I see we are also on different platform here, different broadcasting platform. I see one is asking a question that we know for sure that when an individual is having a medical aid, and medical aid actually, it does he said medical aid, it does actually reduce the amount of tax that the person is to pay. So the question is that why it's important for each and every employee to have a medical aid and a retirement annuity, even though there are companies that don't have them, but individually, why is it important for them to have them privately, so for themselves? Why it's important? Because the person, she's saying that she had been told that it's very much important for an individual to have a retirement fund or a medical aid. Why it is important? That's a question that is coming from unknown here. Anonymous, sorry.
Look, medical aid will have to go via your employer. I mean, if you have your medical aid, your employer has to be notified. Hello? Are you still there, Mr. Manikan?
We're with you.
Yes, sir. Oh, okay, sorry. So yeah, if you have a medical aid, it will have to go via your employer so that you can get the tax benefits of getting a reduction in your tax. Otherwise, if it's outside your salary structure, it may not benefit you. So yes, you have to have medical aid because you are taking off the burden of hospitalization and all of that from the state. Therefore, you get some kind of benefit in terms of tax reduction. Annuity, retirement annuities, again, you are providing for your future income, taking yourself off from being dependent upon the state at the time when you need a pension. So again, there is a tax benefit for that, because you are helping the state in terms of alleviating the pressure on government funds. So it's a benefit that accrues to a taxpayer. It has to be structured within the salary of the taxpayer so that there is tax benefit on it.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
don't know if yeah, thank you so much. I don't know if those who are on the panel they want to ask something, because on this one while we're still explaining it, it looks like
Yes.
when an individual is having a retirement annuity and also having a medical aid, the state is rewarding them by reducing their tax. That these people, they're reducing the cost of the state because they're not depending on the
Yes.
public health, they are on the private health. And also when it comes to the issue of the retirement, you are saying that the state will also cut their tax because these people, they're not going to be dependent to the social grants and whatsoever. They will be independent because
Exactly.
they're
Yes.
planning for future.
Yes. Yes.
That's a quite vital point. That's quite a vital point. It's quite a vital point, which I know for sure that a lot of people are not aware of. And for that, I think we need to give you a round of applause for that point. Okay, now on the letters, where are we? Did we touch the completion letter and also the engagement letter? Did we touch them?
No, we didn't talk about the completion letter.
The completion letter. Yeah,
Or
let's actually
Yes,
take the
yes.
completion letter.
Completion is straightforward. It all means the SARS has now finalized the process of audit or review, and therefore there won't be any further communication in regard to that.
Oh, it simply means
Is it
that
clear?
actually they are done with whatsoever that they were doing. They are done with everything. If maybe there was an assessment or they were doing an audit, they're actually done.
Yes. In other words, they're just letting you don't expect further letters because they want to. They, like I said, they standardize their communication. So they are telling you don't expect any further letter in regard to this matter. It is now closed.
I understand that. Tell me about the findings letter. From common sense, I can hear that they did find something. What in most cases, from your experience, when SARS email you or post the letter that's about the findings letter, what happens?
Yeah, when there you have a problem. Usually, when that letter comes, it will tell you, you have told us this, but we found out this. So it's usually not a nice letter because it will be saying, based on our own review, we find that you have not declared enough income to us, or your expenses are not allowed or accepted by SARS because they were not in expenses that were incurred in the course of business, such things. So probably what you find in that letter is you're going to begin to owe SARS unless you dispute such kind of findings. But it can also say, no, we are happy, we are happy after we have requested information from you, we are happy. There is nothing untoward in regard to your tax matters. So, but usually it will say our own review, Yes.
Yeah. We have a message here from Ramatro Bolase, something like that. The person is saying that I think with retirement annuity, it benefits the individual, at the end, since it protects against insolvency or any other creditors. I'm not sure the person who did send the message that she or he's on the portal. Let's check if are you on the portal. The person who did send the message, did you manage to call in? Are you on the portal with us? Okay. Looks like the person did not give us a call. He's just on the chat box. So what is your take, Honorable Tlhakudi, on this message which was sent by one of the persons on the panel, that when you have a retirement annuity, it actually benefits individuals. If maybe you have a loan and you're not able to pay it, Can the retirement annuity cover that?
I think what he's saying or she is saying here is retirement annuity is protected against insolvency or any creditors, meaning creditors cannot claim against your retirement funding or retirement
Yeah.
annuity.
Sorry to come through. I see
Yeah,
the
it's
person. We have
online.
the person on. We have the person on the line. Okay. Hello. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, sir?
Also good, sir. Thank you so much. Can you please introduce yourself before you digest the point that you did actually send on the chat box?
Okay, I'm Ramat Pagulasan, in Tembisa. So, touching on the point of medical aid and the retirement annuity, I heard that the Honorable Sir touched on the point of the medical aid, and then sort of it was a point on retirement annuity. My point is exactly what he just said now. About retirement annuities protected against any creditors, and then when the person is contributing towards RA, he or she will get something at the end of the period, and then they will know that no creditors will have access to their funds.
Okay, no, thank you so much for that. Honorable Sagudi, what our brother here is saying, I can hear what he's saying, but I see there's a question here.
Yes.
One is asking a question that, does the caller say that even if you are insolvent and you have a retirement fund, your creditors will not have access to it?
I might not be very sure about it. My little knowledge says your retirement annuity is your estate, meaning it's part of your wealth. And should you run into problems, third parties or creditors can approach courts, and I think they can say, we see that you have a pension fund or a retirement annuity, we want to claim against it because you owe us and your estate is not enough to pay us, to settle us. So I think someone can claim against it. It's not necessarily protected against creditors, but it is just protected against yourself in the event you spend all your money and at the age of retirement, we have nothing, So I don't think it's really protected against insolvency, because you can get insolvent with it, because retirement annuity at the end for me, you want to be earning income on a monthly basis when you have retired. And if you owe, let's say you owe any person, you are now earning your 5,000 a month during a pension time, and you are owing me 300,000, then I'm saying pay me at least 4,000 or 6,000 monthly. Surely you're going to have to pay me from whatever you are earning, which is now in this case your retirement annuity. So I'm thinking it's not necessarily protected. It is just that it is probably protected during the time of while you are still employed.
Yeah.
But even during that time when you are still employed, if we have a case and then you lose, we can cite your retirement annuity as a potential claimant, or as a way we can claim against. I'm thinking so. Yeah. I might be wrong, of course.
Now let's get okay, I understand. So what's your name actually? You said what's your name, Ramatlapo, or what? You said what's your name?
Ramatlabula.
Oh, Ramatlabula. Okay, Ramatlabula, what's your take on what Honorable Shakudi said?
What he said is so true. They can access the money through the court. However, they will still have to wait until you reach the age of the retirement. They can't just access it while you are still working. They will have to wait for you to reach the age of 55, and then they can take it to the court and access your money.
So
Oh,
wait,
wonderful.
Ramatlapa, are you saying that Ramatlapa, you saying that if you owe the bank and you have a retirement fund, the bank, they can have access to retirement fund if you're not able. I mean, the bank can have access to the retirement fund once you're retired. By the time when you have to get your money, that's when the bank can have your money.
They can start with the process before you even get to the point by where you will retire, but they won't take the money before you retire. I'm not
Okay.
sure if you.
So does it mean that if you have a retirement fund and you have creditors that you owe, it's obvious that at the end of the term, they will get their money from the retirement fund?
Yeah, chances are 100% that they can get their money, because they will just file a case for you and then wait for you until you get to the age of retirement.
Quite interesting one, and it's very risky one. So, Honorable Tlago, let's move to this one. You find that people receive SMSs and also, receive emails. It could be SARS saying that they are requesting for supporting documents, and most of the people, they fail to submit some of those supporting documents. And from your experience, when SARS requests supporting documents, what are some of the documents in most cases which they are requesting from the individuals? Okay, let's check. I'm not sure if Mr. Shakud, you're still with us. All right. I think he's still trying to maybe get a better signal. Mr. Shakudi, are you still with us? Okay. Let's take a quick break and see if we can get Honorable Shakudi back. Yeah, Mr. Shakudi, are you with us?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I hope.
It was,
all right.
yeah.
Okay, no, that's good.
Yeah.
So I was asking you a question here. That in most cases when SARS, they might be sending, could be an email or an SMS. You find that they're saying that they're requesting supporting documents. In less than a minute, what are some of those documents that they might be requesting? And you can take it.
Yeah, it could be, your travel logbook. It could be documents we spoke about, your third parties documents. It could be, proof of vehicle purchases and such. In business, it could be, they could be asking, for proof of insurance, and so forth. So yeah, it could be those ones.
Could be a lot of documents, actually. I understand that one. Now let's move to the last letter before we move to the other ones. When we are talking about auto finalization letter, what are we talking about?
Yeah. The last year,
what are we talking about
they have
when we're talking about?
Yeah, in the last year, they've introduced what they call auto assessments, meaning they are saying if you are with one employer, you really don't need to submit anything to them. They have information.
Yeah.
They go ahead assessment on your behalf, and they simply send you a letter telling you this is what we believe is your tax. So it is done by us without the taxpayer having to submit anything to that. You can still dispute that, or you can accept it. Yeah.
let me ask you this about this auto assessment. Um, does it mean that if a person is only working at one company and the person doesn't, file those documents and do everything, does this auto assessment cover that? Meaning that there's no need for you to submit everything. You just wait for the auto assessment to go through.
Also send you a question, a link. Are you accepting or are you rejecting this auto assessment? So basically, from SARS side, you are not expected to do anything, but with SARS, what I can say is it's safe to submit, because you always come later and say you have not submitted your tax return. That's what we have seen in the past. They will tell you if you are any less than 250,000, and but when you see that you have a penalty submitting a tax return. So I think it's safe to always submit, even if SARS says no, you don't need to.
So, okay. Now tell me, what are some of the dangers? What are some of the dangers of accepting the auto assessment?
No, the danger is you might accept that you owe 100,000, because people have been receiving such where they are just told you owe us 50,000. So if you accept that, it means you owe them 50,000, and you find that they got the information wrong somehow. Like if you have a traveling allowance, such information, they might not have accurate information about the kilometers you have traveled and so forth.
Oh, no, I get it. I get it on that point. I get it. Okay, sorry about that. Now we'll be moving to, in most cases you find that it could be a company, could be an individual. Now we're gonna talk about, people who are owing house money. Yeah, no.
Okay, yeah, it's just breaking a bit about there. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Let's take a quick short. Honorable Sakud, and also.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can hear you, Honorable Sakudi. We can hear you 100%.
Oh, great, yes.
All right, guys, thank you for taking your time, to come and join the show. I see on different platforms, people coming from different countries. They're sending their messages. They're saying that it looks like the tax system in South Africa is quite complicated, based on how they see how things are happening. So yeah, what can we say? That's how it goes. Honorable Sakudi, are you still with us? Okay, let's check. Mr. Chagudi, are you still with us on the line?
Yes, I'm still around.
Okay, all right, that's good. Now we are moving to the other topic where we will be
Yes, sir.
talking about
Yes, I'm
individuals
on the
or
line. I can
companies.
hear you nice and clean.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So now we are moving to where you find that people they owe SARS money, and someone doesn't know how much actually they owe SARS, or one will just get an SMS saying that you owe us this much. So those are some of the things which actually, for instance, let's say you receive an SMS or a letter that says that you owe SARS 25,000, right? You don't know how SARS actually arrived to that point. Could be maybe you have been avoiding their emails, could be maybe you have been avoiding whatsoever that they've been sending to you. Now, I want to ask you this question. When one receives such information, what should a person do? When you find that you're confused, you don't even know what is happening. What should the individual do?
I think the best way is to engage SARS directly. They have a call center number. I think it is safe to call them and to authenticate that that communication is true and correct, because there are lots of scammers around here. So I think it will be safe to communicate with SARS, and then also to get my explanation as to how they arrive at such information or declaration.
Okay, now that's a good advice. And let's say it comes to a point that the person say, you know, I'm not able to pay this money in full. What can the person do? You owe 25,000 rand and you are not able to pay this money in full.
No, with SARS,
Really,
like,
you are owing them.
yes, yes, no, no, it's not. It's so long as you engage SARS, you're open. They will be willing to help you. They can do our payment arrangements, that suits your pocket, so long as you commit to paying them, So the only problem is when you don't come forward and acknowledge the debt or don't service the debt after making a payment arrangement. Then that's when you'll have challenges with SARS.
Oh, okay. So now tell me, I want to understand this one. If it comes to a point that you want to make payment arrangement with SARS, how do you actually do the arrangement?
There would be, you can do it. These days, all things are done online because of this COVID. But should you have an opportunity, you can also go inside the branch and ask to make a payment arrangement. Usually, they just look at your disposable income, and from there determine how much you can really afford. So they will ask, if in the case of a business, they will ask for a cash flow statement, which shows what are you projecting. Actually, cash flow projections, not statement. Cash flow projection showing how much are you likely to make and how much could be available as a repayment to SARS on a monthly basis. Probably that's what they will look for. Yeah.
Okay, no, I get that. Now let me ask you this question: if SARS say you owe 25,000 rand and you don't agree with the debts, what should you do? You don't agree with what they're saying that you owe them, and yes, you know for sure that you have different companies, and let's say you are an entrepreneur, you have a company, you know for sure, yes, you have to pay them, but you disagree with what they say you owe them.
Look, SARS does engage with taxpayers mainly through their e-filing system, and on that system, there is an option where you can always dispute any assessment, and when you dispute the assessment, the next step is to provide information why you dispute, reasons why you dispute, and you do that. Then that's when those other letters come to say, okay, can you bring more supporting documents. We were asking for 1, 2, 3. So that is option there upfront with SARS on their e-filing system as well. But you can also do it on the phone and or by visiting the branch.
Yeah. So tell me, what happens when it comes to a point that you know that you owe them 25,000 and you say, you know what, I'm not gonna give this government anything. They can do whatever that they want. You owe them 25,000. You tend to be, you avoid them. You say, I'm not giving them a thing. I won't pay whatever that they say I owe them. What's going to happen?
Once they've done their processes, which is they've issued all these letters, they now come to another stage of enforcement. They appoint a third party. It could be the bank, it could be your employer. They would instruct them to, if it's your employer, to deduct such monies. If it's your bank, they will simply monitor movement in your banking accounts. Whenever there's money, they just deduct it automatically. So that's the harsh reality of ignoring SARS.
Okay, I'm not sure if there's anyone who's having any question before we move to the other topic. Lebogang, do you have any question?
Yes, Ali. Good evening, Honorable Hlakudi. Yes, I've got some few questions. Those I need to ask. My question is, let's say, for example, a person having been to SARS at all, and then having close to 5 years, to 7 years, 10 years working. So, what advice do you give to a person so that need to comply or submit to SARS with all the, because of for example, let me talk about me. I haven't been to SARS. I've been close to 11 years working, and then I haven't had a message from SARS, and I don't know about when I go to pension and all that. Well, that will I survive or what? So, what is it that it needs to be done? Because of I can't approach SARS because of SARS doesn't see me today. That's what I see. But they're busy deducting my money, and I know that there's a possibility that I can have a certain share at SARS, and then or SARS could be owing me, or I could be owing SARS. So, what advice you give to a person?
Look,
Or where can I start? Or where can I start?
once you are okay, once you are in employ, you have an obligation to SARS. So annually, you have to make a submission to SARS of your, or file your tax returns. So it becomes that automatic. Of course, you have to know how much you are earning, and then there are certain minimums. If you are below this minimum, you don't have to worry about SARS. Like I think currently it's about 79,000. If you are earning anything less than 79,000 a year, you don't have to worry about SARS. If you have one employer and less than probably 250,000, you don't have to really submit anything. But like I said, to be safe, you just have to submit. If you're earning above that, you surely have to make sure that annually you submit to avoid any surprises.
All right, all right. Okay, but let me say I'm having a wish of submitting, and then I'm just thinking now that okay, fine, I've been working for close to 11 years, and then like, what if maybe I submit to SARS, and then they say that out of let me just say out of the blue and say they will say you owe us. So and then like, where should I start, Honorable Hlagudi?
Yes.
So that because of I need to be on a safe side, understand that okay, fine. Now I'm not submitting to SARS, but I don't. Yeah, but now I don't know that I on the safe side or
Look,
no.
yes, yes. Look, ordinarily from employer-employee relationship, we shouldn't be owing SARS, big amounts. They should be minor or small amounts that we could be owing, or they could be owing us, because annually there should be reconciliations that are done by the employer to SARS for every employee. So, and remember, you are paying SARS every month when you're getting your salary. So there will be small amounts, either payable or refundable, but they shouldn't be big amounts. They shouldn't be huge amounts. So I don't think there should be that much of a fear to owe SARS big money. Big monies, it's probably because you have a second employer, you have a second job, and that's when the people then have eventually owes SARS a big amounts, because you find that these are two separate employers, and therefore your tax bracket is not at the right level, and therefore you eventually owe a lot of money. So I don't think you should be fear to approach. You should just generally approach. If you eventually owe a lot of money, you can make those payment arrangements and so forth. Yeah.
All right, Honorable Sakudi. No, I understand. Thank you very much.
All right, no, that's all right. All right, thank you so much for that. Uh, it's quite interesting, when one asks a question and you get a feedback.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Sekudi. I'm not sure here, my brother here, if you have any question. I think it's Ramatlop. I think if you have any question, you're also welcome to give us a shot and unmute yourself and ask any question that you have. I hope, Levran, you are answered. Now,
I
Honorable
am Ali.
Sekudi, it happens. Yeah. So it happens that SARS actually it owes a company or an individual. It normally happens. So my question to you, Honorable Hlagud, is that what happens when SARS owes an individual money? What normally happens?
Yes.
Okay. Honorable
Well,
Shakudi, I'm not. Yeah, please
SARS
answer
says
it.
they've got about a 72-hour turnaround time where they will pay all the monies that are due, given they have all the necessary supporting. Uh-huh.
Yeah, please
Hello.
continue. Please continue.
Yes. So I'm saying SARS would say they would pay all monies that are due to taxpayers within 72 hours, provided all other information has been complied with. So they usually pay, but you should you not get such payments, you have the right to do a follow-up. They will tell you about 21 working days, then you can wait for that. Should that pass, you should escalate your query to say, I have more than 21 working days, I haven't got my refund, what is the issue? So generally we can follow up SARS and claim your funds.
Let me ask you this question. What are some of the factors which are actually contributing towards you find that SARS owes an individual? I need to know, what are some of those factors?
Like we said, when let's say you have a traveling allowance, SARS does not know how much you have spent on your car doing the employer's work or duties. So you are only going to disclose at the end of the year to say, SARS, I have traveled these kilometers servicing my employer. I need to be compensated for that, because so at that stage, when SARS calculate how much you have used, you then can end up with a refund. Other things like medical aid, there are small monies. There will be small differences, but yes, it can happen that one of your dependents or yourself, you spend lots of money being hospitalized. That can trigger a refund from SARS as well. So those could be incidents. Mainly it's the issue of a traveling allowance that triggers a refund. A medical, yes, hospitalization can trigger that as well. So yeah, those are two instances I
Okay.
think they could trigger. But also, if you the employer can miscalculate your tax amount. It can miscalculate. For instance, if we hire you today and we are giving you 16,000 a month, in 3 months time we take you to a lower position, you will find that you have paid a lot of SARS already for the whole year, and therefore you eventually have a refund at the end of the year.
Okay. Now tell me, what happens when it comes to your point that the employer, yes, miscalculate and underpay to SARS, and when the information comes back from SARS, it doesn't say the employer owes SARS, it says you as the individual owes SARS. What happens in that case?
Yes. Because the liability, responsibility remains with the taxpayer. Well, if you were supposed to pay SARS 2,000, you paid SARS 1,000. That 1,000 was enjoyed by you, so it's you who owe SARS. Same applies if I was supposed to pay SARS 1,000, I paid them 2,000. That 1,000 is I must enjoy it. So the employer is only there as a middleman. So whatever mistake that they are doing, the responsible person is the taxpayer eventually.
This is quite interesting, because I don't understand why when the employers are making mistakes, the mistakes now come back to the individual, because the employer say that you are earning 10,000 rand and the employer claim to deduct the pay you earn from your salary, and the employer does not submit the information to SARS, or the employer deducted the money and doesn't declare it to SARS. Yeah.
No, that one is fraud. That one is fraud. It's a different story.
Yeah.
Because once they cannot deduct from me 2,000 and not pay it over to SARS. If they don't pay it over to SARS, it's a criminal offense. So
yeah, I want to speak about that. I want to speak about that case. When it happened. Will also the employer be liable? What else the employer did not submit the information? Will the employee be held liable and saying that, hey, you owe us this much? In that case,
no. The reason for tax return submission is precisely this. It's precisely that one, because the employer can misbehave, like we are saying, and not submit. So now I have an opportunity at the end of the year. My employer must give me my IRP5, which shows what was deducted from me throughout the whole year. Then I take it to SARS.
Okay.
Then the employer and the employee respond. That is what we call a reconciliation, EMP 501. So it has to correspond. So eventually, So eventually there has to be that reconciliation. But if so it will be fraud if the employer, let's say, operate two systems. One system they deduct but on the other system, they declare a different amount.
No, I definitely get that one. I definitely get that one. Now, I want to ask you this question, which is very much important also. The other one you have answered it. How far back can actually SARS audit an individual or a company? Like what my friend Lebang said, that he have not been going to SARS for the past 5 years or past 6 years. The question is that how far back can SARS audit an individual or a company?
You always, every time you have got 5 years, that is open for audit or review. So SARS goes 5 years back.
5 years back.
5 years back is always open. So
what are some of the things?
Let's say you are a company.
Yeah, continue.
You are a company. SARS can say, okay, we are in 2021, but we are interested in 2018, or we are interested in 2017. It is still open. They can still come and say we are still interested, even if though they could have said completion letter. They could have given you a completion letter in 2018, but they can still go back to 2018 anytime within the 5 years.
Mr. Tlagudi, sorry, Ali, to interfere into this. I was just covering so that the magazine escaped. Okay, Mr. Tlagudi, you said 5 years. So what if it's 10 or 20 years, maybe? Because of I've got close to 12 years. So will they go back to 12 years, or
they wouldn't audit you? They wouldn't look into it if it's more than 5 years. It wouldn't be their interest. It might be maybe your interest. They can open it, but they won't have any interest on it if it's more than 5 years.
All right,
so they
thank
cannot
you very
harass
much.
you, because you have a responsibility to keep all the supporting documents. That is for, cannot say I've lost my supporting documents because it's more than 3 years. You see, so to keep information for the responsibility. If they say no, 12 years, I can say I lost that information. I won't be liable, because the law says I must keep it at least for 5 years.
For 5 years. Okay, now there's a question that our brother here is asking. I'm not sure if he can unmute himself and come on board to explain what he's asking. The question is that he's saying that let's go through the question. He's saying that I used to work at a bank dealership. Dealerships could ask for invoices after they have purchased vehicles so they can file for tax returns. My question is, are they getting their company or individual VAT back, or what? I think what he's asking about here, Mr. Tlagudi, is asking about VAT input and VAT output. This is something that is asking about VAT control. That normally what happens when a company is asking a question in relation to VAT input and VAT output, and whether it's refundable and payable. Can you address it for him?
Yes. If you, like here he says a dealership. So if you are a dealership, it means probably you are dealing in cars, you're buying and selling. So whenever you buy a car, there would be VAT that you are paying as part of that purchase. And for any time you are paying VAT, if you are registered for VAT as a VAT vendor, meaning if you have a VAT number, you are registered for VAT. And anytime you pay VAT, you can claim that VAT back. So hence they need the invoice so that they can prove to SARS that we paid this amount of VAT. Therefore, can we get that amount of VAT back? But yeah.
Okay.
So I wanted to say, but it's not straightforward like that, yes. Because similarly, as much as you claim your VAT that you have paid, when you are a dealership, you are obviously going to. So when you sell, you amount of VAT that you charge, you also have to say, SARS, I've charged this amount of VAT, therefore this is part of your money that I've charged. Then when you do your VAT return, VAT tax return, it means you are taking what you have invoiced or what you have invoiced to your customers, the amount of VAT out minus what you have paid as VAT. Difference you pay over to SARS. That's actually what it means when they submit a tax return. It means they're taking the positives and the minus and say, now SARS, in this month, this is how much we owe you. It could happen in 1 or 2 months that you owe us. That would mean they would have bought more cars than they have sold more cars. All right.
Okay. Now, that's a good one. From my side, I get it. I'm not sure if they get it. I have a couple of questions, but due to time, I want to start with this one. About starting a new company, when an individual starts a new company. I want to ask you this question, Honorable Shakudi. Why do an individual or a group of people, when they are starting a business in South Africa, why do they need to register it with the CIPC?
I think the reason for registering is so that they can trade more, do business with other registered companies, or be able to provide legal documents which are mandated business, either with government or with private companies. Otherwise, you are not really. You can still trade in your own name as a sole trader and be a legal business. But I think because when you deal with a specific documentation they're going to be looking for, hence you register.
Okay. All right. No, that's quite good. That's quite good. Now, let me ask you this question. One will be saying that. One will be saying that. Where and how do I register a company?
Well, in South Africa, it's very simple. There we have the CI, the companies, intellectual property, what commission. Yeah, they are responsible for registering companies. Yes, yeah. But we small business practitioners, accountants who register businesses on behalf of people. So you can just shout, you can call me and I can help you to get your business up and registered with all the necessary legal documents, or many other accountants out there who does that kind of a service. So I think it will be good just to use us. Sure.
Okay. All right. Now, yeah, you spoke about the Companies and Intellectual Property Commission, which is the CIPC.
Oh, yes.
We get that. Now, want to ask you a question. When is the right time for me as an individual, because I have a business, to register for VAT? When is the right time to register for VAT? People are getting confused when it comes to the issue of they don't understand the issue of volunteering for VAT. The issue of, you find that there's a voluntary and also it's a must that you must register for VAT. When should one register for VAT?
Again, like when you have more than 1 million income or turnover per year, it now becomes mandatory or compulsory to register for VAT. If you are not making that much per annum, you are not forced to register for VAT. Therefore, for me, it's when you are really making more than 1 million that you must register, because it becomes mandatory. Because VAT on its own, puts an obligation on you, the business owner. So it's an added burden. So it's better to do without it for me. All right.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Are you saying that when a company actually makes a turnover of a million or more than 1 million rand in a period of 12 months, it's a must, it must register for VAT? And when a
Yes.
company it makes less than a million rand, if it wants to register for VAT, it can go under the voluntary, it can volunteer. I get that. The question is that we
Yes.
have a
Yes.
lot of
Yes.
businesses which actually qualify for VAT, to actually register for VAT, but then don't register for
Yeah.
VAT. What are some of the dangers this company might be in?
Look, I haven't seen, it. All I've seen in the instance and find out, they just say you have to. They just tell you that you must register, and monitor you, for that, because you should register for that. I haven't seen any punitive measures being taken against those who have not registered per se. So it's an encouragement or that one must register.
Okay, now we get it right. For me to ask this question, we see a lot of entrepreneurs when they start to register companies. They will say, I want to register for BEE, I want to register for tax clearance, I want to register for what do you call this thing? They want to register also for VAT. They want to get the compliance. What do you call it? They want to also get the letter that comes from labor. Shows that this person is this person never worked anywhere. The company never got any job, but request for this information. We see a lot of accountants, they just assist these people to register for VAT and other things. I don't know why they don't explain to these people. Now, what are some of the factors which are contributing for accountants just to register VAT for these people without explaining to them that, hey, you don't just register VAT. This is how it goes. What is contributing towards that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you still with us, Mr. Slagodi? All right. I think we can hear you, Mr. Slagodi. Yep. I think we lost Mr. Slagodi, but I think he will come back just now. He's just having some technical issues. We're just enjoying the topic, Let's try and see if we can get him on board.
Once you have done
Mr.
that, you have
Slagodi, are
registered
you?
for that, you
Yeah. Yeah.
your obligation is way too much.
Okay. So Mr. Slagodi, can I ask you something? I want to ask you this question. I want to ask this question, Mr. Slakudi. I hope I can see that you are still with us. Maybe finding that the audio is coming late to you. I want to ask this question. When a person normally start a company, do these people actually, have to hire employees and, put them on the payroll? Or Is it advisable or is it wise for them to actually hire an independent contractor to work for them? And from your side and from your understanding, how do you encourage most of the entrepreneurs? Do they have to actually employ their own people and put them on the payroll and they go with the procedures, or do they actually have to hire an independent contractor and they just pay a once off based on the invoice? What is your view? Okay. I'm not sure what might be happening with Mr. Shagudi. Let's take a little bit quick break. See if we can be able to get him back on the line. Okay. Mr. Shakuri is just having some technical problem, but he will come back on the line. We have also Ali here. He's coming from Iran. Good evening to you, Ali. I hope you are also on the panel. Can you also, give us a call so that you can introduce yourself to our brothers who are in the house? Lebogang and also Ramaklopo, can you please guys unmute yourself so that you can take part? Okay. Mr. Shakuri, are you back? All right. Mr. Shakuri will come back. All right. No, we understand Lebhang on that one. Let's see with Ramatlopo. Ramatlopo, are you able to unmute at your side? All right, this is quite an interesting one. Honorable Chagudi actually have touched on, quite a vital points. The one that is quite interesting, it's when we're talking about VAT. That when it comes to VAT, there's no need for, for an individual, just to say, I want my company to register for VAT. And also, when it comes to VAT, you don't just register for VAT. Your company, at least it needs to operate for a period of 12 months. And when it operates for a period of 12 months, it needs to make at least a turnover of R1 million. If it makes a turnover of R1 million, that's when we know for sure that your company, it does qualify to register for VAT. Now, okay, now also, no, we understand Ramatap. And also when it comes to volunteering, because there are other companies which are saying that they want to register for VAT, for them to volunteer. It's also, allowed for a company to volunteer when it comes to VAT. But the thing is that when it comes to volunteering, at least your company needs to make $500,000 in a period of 12 months in order for you to volunteer. That's one thing that I want them to understand. And also, when it comes to the issue of employing people and also getting appointing a subcontract to work with, sometimes when you have your own employees, it's easy for you to arrange with them how much you can be able to pay them. But when you have a subcontract, it's a bit difficult, because if you agree with them on a certain amount of money, it's going to be quite tricky for you actually not to pay them, because each and every month they need that. But if it's your employees, sometimes you explain that, hey, the company is not doing well, let's keep hustling. And also, it's very much important when you start a company that your company needs to have a bank account, so that at the end of the day, if it comes to a point that the third-party institutions such as the bank, you might need financial assistance from the bank. So they might need data. Where will they get the data from? They'll get it from the bank statement. So it's quite essential for any type of a business to have a bank statement, because you can claim that your business is making money, but when it comes to you not having, a bank statement, how will you prove to the financial institution that your business is making money? You're not going to be able to prove that. So it's very much important to have a bank statement. And also, it's very much important to make sure that you keep your books up to date. If you receive money, for instance, let's say your business operates today, let's talk about today, you make money today. That money, you need to keep it in record. You need to find a financial software that can actually record that kind of an information, so that you can have sort of a data to know how much money did you make, when did you make this money. Then you can go and sit down and make a plan to say, no, I can see that my business is performing, especially on Saturdays and Sundays, it's making a lot of money. So it's quite important to have a system in place. Also, you need to know that when you operate a company, what are some of the taxes that you're going to pay, and what are some of the returns that you're going to submit. You can't just start a company not knowing what are some of the taxes you're implicated to. And also, you need to be able to know, how are you going to finance your business? Are you going to use your salary, such as a friend of mine called Lebohang, as he said he used his salary to finance the business? Or are you going to the bank to ask for money for you to start a business? So it's very much important for you to know, how are you going to start the business? Are you going to finance it from your own pocket, or are you going to the bank to ask for money? The risky part about going to the financial institution asking for money is that when you ask for financial assistance from the bank, it's very painful, this one. You are going to do mistakes with the money that you got from the bank. And if your business fails, I'm telling you, the financial institution, they don't need to know a thing. You still have to pay back the money from the banks. So it's advisable that when you start a company, don't ask for financial assistance from the bank. Start with your own money before, because if you ask for financial assistance and your business fails, you're still liable to pay back this money. Yes, Lebahang, I'm bringing you back on the line.
Thanks, Ali. Yeah, Ali, I
So
was, sorry,
what is your
sorry. Yeah, I
take,
was,
Lebahang, on the issue of when one start a business? Yeah, what's your take?
okay. Cause like I was in a noise area. Can you please, hello?
Yeah, so my question was that, yeah, I can hear you, Lebahang. We can hear you. My question was that, when you're starting a company, How do you have to finance your business? Do you have to go to the bank and get financial assistance, or you have to use your own resources?
Ali, when it comes to such a question, I believe that when starting a business, it depends on what kind of a business you want to start. Because of, like, let's say for example, you're thinking of starting a company of making, for example, soccer boots. Soccer boots. When you're making a soccer boots, you need to have such very expensive machines and all that, and then at some point you might not have money to cover all those assets, resources, let me just say. So those resources, sure, yeah. Or maybe you just need to open a courier company. You need to buy cars as well. So in such case, you need to go to the bank. And then, like, there are some businesses where you can start them without going to the bank. Like maybe
Hello, gang family.
okay, like for example, let me say you want to start maybe this business of selling cars. Maybe you got close
Yeah.
to 50,000. Yeah, you go to SMD, you purchase 5 cars, you start by fixing them one by one. So borrowing money without you understanding such kind of a business is very risky, according to me. So in such kind of a business, some business are better when you start with your own capital. Yeah, but at some point it won't be possible.
So let me get this. Are you also supporting the idea that when you start a business, you need to make sure that you use your savings, or you use your own resources that you're having before you go to the banks? Because my point here, Lebogang, is that it's very risky to go to the banks and request money. Depending on
Yeah,
the type of a business that you're starting. Imagine when you want to start a business that works with food. You go to the bank, you obtain 200,000, you start the business. Now, there are chances that your business might fail due to the mistakes that your employees are doing or you're doing. The question is that if your
exactly.
business failed and it collapses, how are you going to repay back the money?
It's going to be a problem, Ali. So that's what I'm saying, that opening, you need to evaluate when opening the business. You need to look at the business. You need to know your target market on where you go. Because of, like, for example, Ali, I can't just out of the blue and said uh, I need to open a courier company without having any information, or
Yeah.
like, yeah. Yesterday I was just walking around in Hamaskral. I saw there's another company, they call it the Jitas and Sons Bricks Company. So Jitas and Sons, they've been
Yeah.
empowered by another company before. So opening such kind of a business, you need to be empowered before. Like, once heard about this one of there was one guy who wanted to open a mortuary. So it's very risky just to open a mortuary. So the guy was affiliating with Avbob. You understand? So you need
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
you need to affiliate with some other people, because if you can't just open a bigger business and go to wherever and borrow money and then out of the blue without knowing your target market. So first thing, before you can go big, you need to start small. For example, let's say maybe selling blankets. You can't just go to the bank and borrow 10,000 and start thinking of selling blankets, because of blankets. The winter will be gone tomorrow. You'll be left with the stock and then unable to pay the bank. So that's what I'm saying. That it's nice to start with your own capital, Ali. Yeah, no matter
Yeah.
if you can have a
Yeah.
bigger, yeah, some dreams are big, yes. Now I can't just have a dream of selling the Maserati and all that. It's a very big dream, yes, but I need to know where to start first. I need to know how to negotiate, how to discount people when coming to buy a Maserati. These are kind of a discount. So what are the things that there are some things those are needed when you're starting a business. So the best way, Ali, on my side, is to start with your own capital. Start small, though you're dreaming big, but you need to start somewhere. Start small with whatever that you're having.
I support the whole idea there. I support the idea of starting with your own cash. Now, the thing is that, let me ask you this question from your understanding, and I'm also asking my brother here is also joining us, Ramatlako. When is the right time to go to the bank and request for financial assistance? When is the right time? I see Ramatlop is saying that's so true, Mr. Lebogang. I agree with your statement. I think before a person decides to go to financial institution, to request for financial assistance, you have to start by, you have to make, I think you need to analyze your business before you borrow money from the banks. I agree with you here, my brother, because imagine when you just go to the financial institution and request for funds, not knowing how your business is operating. Labahang, I want to ask you something. Can you please come back on the line? I want to ask this question. The question is that when is the right time for a business? When is the right time actually for the business to go to the banks and ask for financial assistance?
Ali, thank you very much again. Ali, the good time for a business to go to the bank, it's when the demand is more and then you are unable to. You see, it's between the demand and the supply. You are unable to supply and the demand is more. And then by evaluating your business, and then you see that, okay, fine, I know if I can go to the bank and tell them to borrow me 50,000, let me just say I have a bakery with a small pen and a small whatever, everything is very small. And then the demand is so high in an area. And then when I look at the area that, okay, fine, I know that the bread is always increasing. So, and then, for example, let's say a loaf of bread is 17 rand currently to 15 rand somewhere there. And then when I make bread, I'm selling bread for 9 rand, 8 rand. So then now, so many people won't go to the places where the bread is 15 rand. They'll always go to the bread where it's 9 rand, 8 rand. Some they'll tell you that the bread is called fakumoya, bukurise, but people will always come. You understand? Yeah, people will always come. The demand will always be like that. Yeah, the demand will always be like that. And then you need to increase your bakery. Meaning when I go to the bank and borrow 50,000, I know that I'm going to buy a big heater, a stove, big stove, whatever which is big, so that I can try. Because of, let's say, maybe I'm waking around about 2 o'clock, I start baking bread. I'm done by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And then before 9 o'clock, the bread, or before 12 o'clock, the bread is finished. So when the bread is finished before 12 o'clock, there are going to be people who will be needing a bread from 5 o'clock, let's say from 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, until 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Those will be saying, Banabaya Skolonga-san, let's just get bread. You understand? So going to the bank and borrow money, it is when the demand is more. When you need to start small. And then when the demand is more, then that's where you can go to the bank. Ali?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Lebakang, I'm with you. In economics, we're talking about, I agree with you when you're talking about demand. In economics, we're talking about the law of demand and the law of supply. We're saying that when the demand is high, you need to make sure that you adjust your prices so that you can reduce the demand. And when the demand is low, you need to make sure that if the demand is low, obviously it's telling you that people are not demanding your product, so you need to cut your product. So in general, Lebogang, I want to ask this question. What type of businesses do you think the youth of today can, start businesses with, rather than starting with risky businesses? In less than a minute, or in a minute, how do you answer the question?
Ali, there's a lot of businesses around here. You see, like the youth of today, we're talking about from what age? Because of when I talk, most of the time I like to talk about from 18 years, to 35. Yeah, those are the kind of people those I like to encourage most of the time. Because of I've been 11 years under liquor industry, so I've got more information about liquor most of the time. Yeah, and then in general, with all the businesses that one can start with, I'll say which one of the businesses,
something simple,
Ali,
something not sophisticated. You're looking at something simple.
Ali, a bakery is the best today. A bakery, a bakery
Okay.
is the best, Ali.
Why?
Focusing on the price, like let's say for example, uh, today the bread is 15 rand everywhere. Some bake can make a bread that is lesser than 10 rand or something like that. So the bread from today in a nutshell is 15 rand, somewhere from 13 to 15 rand. But imagine having a bakery starting with the capital of let's say maybe you can budget that. Maybe let's say for example you earning 10K. When you earn 10K, you can budget 5,000 until you reach 60,000 and buy the whole equipment for the bakery. Because of bread, bread is a demand. It's a demand everywhere because of the price that those we know, the brands those we know today are very expensive. But if you can study a little bit about bread and start opening the bakery, still it can do well. And then like there's another one of opening. I'm sharing here. I'm sharing an idea with everyone. Having a let's
Yeah.
say for example, you open a saloon. Ali, opening a saloon is something else. You can open a saloon to run it, and then you open a saloon to rent it. Yeah, so that people can
Mm-hmm.
rent into your saloon. Yeah. So when you're opening a saloon, let's say for example, the whole building of the saloon, maybe you start with you see those saloons in here everywhere. It's a small shack with two mirrors inside, with the two clippers, like the two clippers, and let's say a, a basin and all that. You put a basin inside, you buy a
Yeah.
clipper,
Yeah.
you buy a check. It's two
So,
thousand five hundred that
so
check. So
yeah.
opening
No,
those saloons,
yeah. Yeah,
uh,
I
I
agree
was
with you, Lebahang, on when you say starting a salon, you need to start small. I think we are
yeah.
running after time.
Oh,
Mr.
all right.
Sanero, can you please unmute yourself? We are left with only around
Okay.
about 4 minutes. Yeah, Mr. Sanero, I'm not sure if you can. Can you please unmute yourself? I heard you saying that you're in a noise place, but you're about to conclude the show. Can you please unmute yourself? Um, I want us to wrap the show. Lebahang, I want you to wrap up the show. Give us your vote of thanks and also, just wrap up about the show in details. Today we had an accountant on site, shared a lot of things. You are left with about 3 minutes to close the show. I'm leaving it to you to wrap up the show, Lebahang. Please wrap up the show for us today. I'm leaving everything to you, Lebahang.
All right, Ali, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I'd like to say thank you to every listener who was listening to us, who was listening to Ali, and thanks again, once again, to Mr. Shakudi for an information that he brought to us. Like some of us, we're not so informed that much, and then I'd like to say thank you very much. We looking forward to meet with you one more time, and then to each and everyone keep in touch with Ali. Let us just participate. And thanks for all the participants most of the time. Yes. Ali, I really like to say thank you very much. I'm very fortunate also to be in this area most of the time and in being invited to come and participate almost every time. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, we also had Mohola J here. No, thank you so much, Mohola J. I'm not sure if you're also on the panel. If you want to say something, you're also welcome to say a thing. Thank you so much, guys, for taking your time. It's always a pleasure to have you guys on our podcast. This is Go Youth FM, by the youth, for the youth, and about the youth. I thank you so much, guys. Keep
Cheers,
well.
Ali.
Enjoy. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.